The reality is that from everything we've seen, she grew up in dysfunction. And unfortunately, it isn't easy to break generational trauma, generational dysfunction. So from what she said, it sounds like she has worked on herself. She has done the counseling. People deserve a second chance.
Welcome to Cocktails and Gossip, the podcast where we drink cocktails, but you better believe we're going to spill the tea. We chat reality TV, celebrity blinds, and the hottest tea from BravoandCocktails.com. And as always, it's all alleged and just for fun. We do not verify our blinds. I'm B.
And I'm Amanda. Let's get into this week's tea.
Hello, cocktailers. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, cocktailers. Hi, B.
We are recording on 9/11. It's a hard day. I think it's always a hard day.
I always like that you always post that poem.
Yes.
I really like that. I think it's just one of those days that for those of us who lived through it, you can never forget. You can never forget what the feeling was like. I mean, seeing those people jump off the buildings. I mean, it was absolutely horrific. And it still brings me to tears thinking about it. And I think, though, that thinking like that is a way of honoring it and honoring all the people who gave their lives, honoring all the people who helped save lives, honoring all the survivors. I think it's good to think about it.
There's a quote that Governor George Pataki said, and it's something I always repost because it rings so true. And it said, on that terrible day, a nation became a neighborhood and all Americans became New Yorkers. And I just remember how horrific it was. And I live in New York City. My friends, I was too young to have like my own friends, but my friends' parents were FDNY. They were police officers. They were working in Manhattan. I obviously know people who passed and were in the buildings. And I think what we have gone through in recent days and with all of the senseless violence that has transpired, reading that George Pataki quote really makes me pray to God. And we are not political, purposefully so. I like to believe that most of us have more in common that we have different. I might have a different opinion on things, but at the end of the day, I think we all basically want peace in our country. And I just hope that we can learn, everybody, to just respect different opinions, and myself included. It's very easy to get caught in this hamster wheel of wanting to be right and proving a point. And, we're all Americans at the end of the day. And it's very important that we respect each other's differences in opinion and that we listen to each other, because nothing really happens if you just talk over it and you're not willing to hear the other person.
I agree. And nothing really changes if you don't actually put some effort into making things change. And I will say I don't have all of the answers, but I am starting to feel ashamed of the fact that nothing has been done and that we all are feeling so helpless. I feel ashamed that there is continually school violence. And
because it kind of feels like it's up to us, right? It's our generation. We're the parents. And I don't mean that obviously there's many of us who aren't the parents, but we're the middle-aged people.
Yeah.
You and I. And
we are.
And some of you guys are younger than us and some of you guys are older than us. But anyone listening to this is over age and is in a place where, we want to have a safe world for all of us to live in. I don't want to have to worry about going to mass or going to dropping my kids at school. Nobody wants to worry about that.
And I will say, I feel helpless, as I think so many people do. I'm reading an email from, now my kids go to two different schools, but both are private. Both have been able to beef up security my son's school has said, they're going to have 4 extra officers plus a canine there at the school for the next week. But then, of course, my head is like, and, there's lots of other security measures, but I'm like, what is that doing to our children to see, and to have this fear?
Yeah.
Well,
sadly, Amanda, I think that our kids are very used to it because they never haven't had it.
They never have.
First school shooting I can remember was the famous one.
Columbine.
They're all fake. I don't mean that they're all fake.
No, I know what you mean.
But like Columbine, and it was like a one-off. And now it's like, anyway, we don't come here for this, but we would be, it's very hard to strike the balance, guys, because we don't want to be political. Because I have, and I mean this when I say this, I have respect for people with other opinions, and I learn from people with other opinions. Unfortunately, we're at a place where it doesn't feel safe to speak publicly in depth. At least I don't feel, and I don't feel also that I'm knowledgeable enough. I'm not a poli-sci kind of gal. I go to the school of gossip. So I just, thinking of all of you and sending you all love, and it's just a day of reflection. 9/11 is always hard. What transpired yesterday, a school shooting and an assassination in one day, is just horrific. So with that said, Taylor Frankie Paul is a bachelorette. Because now we just got to get on our bullshit because I feel depressed. Yeah. I just actually popped a high noon.
I really wish I could be joining you in that high noon right now. I saw her do it on camera, guys, because we always chat on camera before we get on. Like, that looks freaking delicious because it's really hot where I am today.
Ooh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, so I immediately, as soon as we heard the news, ran to Discord to ask the cocktailers, okay, are we watching The Bachelorette now that Taylor Frankie Paul is on? I did used to be a watcher. I used to watch it, I would say, up until a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe. It seems like a lot of people are interested. I am happy to see her get to have this experience because I think she has had some really rough times. And I often think about that outdoor dinner that she had at her parents' where, essentially the whole family felt like turned on her, including her at the time boyfriend or baby daddy. I don't remember what he was at that point. Everybody likes the Cinderella/redemption story. And I say redemption story because you guys will remember she was arrested. The way a lot of us actually came to know who she was arrested for domestic violence.
And when she was on Call Her Daddy and announced that she was the new bachelorette, she did have a very honest conversation about her misdemeanor charges of assault. She said misdemeanor charges of assault, criminal mischief, and domestic violence in the presence of a child. She was really honest. She said it is such a hard time in her life. Her kids were involved. They were in the house. She said she didn't intentionally want to hurt her children. You brought up the dinner that she had outside. And the reality is that from everything we've seen, she grew up in dysfunction. And unfortunately, it isn't easy to break generational trauma, generational dysfunction. So from what she said, it sounds like she has worked on herself. She has done the counseling. People deserve a second chance. So I have never, I did watch The Bachelorette with Trista and Ryan, was like the only one I ever watched because I think that was the first Bachelorette and I thought it was cool. I never was into like one guy having to pick a million girls, but I definitely was like, ooh, one girl gets to pick from all these guys.
Yeah.
So I'm tuning in.
Yeah.
I don't see how I couldn't.
And by the way, guys, too, I did follow back up because I couldn't remember what had happened with that incident with the domestic violence and the charges were dropped. I think we're here for her. My hope for Taylor Frankie Paul is that The Bachelorette casts exclusively dads because I think somebody who does not understand the ins and outs of parenting life, especially with really little kids, I think it would be a culture shock. And then I think also whoever she dates needs to be open to moving to Utah because her children have multiple fathers. I don't think she can be the one to move away.
And she needs to keep this top of mind as she's on the show.
Yeah.
I doubt she will. She's a girl who chooses complication, which is what makes her interesting.
It is.
So I do. So shout out to Morgan. What the heck's her Instagram? Morgan
P. Talks.
Morgan P. Talks. So I was scrolling and I love all of her videos. She's so good at it. She was like, guys, she's going to be the Bachelorette. And she named all the reasons why. And one of the things she said was, okay, Whitney and Jen are on Dancing with the Stars. She's like, that's awesome. Exciting to hear. But we all know Taylor's a star. So when she wasn't on it, I did scratch my head like, wait, Taylor isn't on it? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Exciting.
I think it'll be fun. And I texted you one of the videos from Whitney from Secret Lives of Mormon Moms. And I was like, she looks freaking amazing. All of her social media videos that she has been doing are making me want to watch the show. So she's doing a good job for ABC. So ABC, if you're listening.
Efron is going to be on. We're watching.
Yeah. Can you imagine Tracy, like her whole maternity leave is just going to be Dylan Efron on.
I haven't had a crush on a reality star since Andrea, the way that I do on Dylan. And I think Dylan's is even stronger because he's like the most gorgeous boy next door you ever did meet.
Yeah.
By the way, a cocktailer bumped into, I shouldn't say bumped in. She saw Andrea at a Target in Manhattan and got a picture. First of all, he's so tall.
Oh my God. I was looking at that picture and this is going to make me sound like a creep. And I am not meaning this in a creepy way. But if you look at the counter and like where his crotch is, like it's close to where like the payment, like the credit card thing is.
So many cocktailers inboxed me. They're like, and then people not from the States were like, are your counters really short? And I actually do think like in Target, because it's a checkout, they are kind of short, but no, he's really tall. And we probably don't notice it because he's next to Carl, who's like
also tall,
even taller.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was like, he smelled so good. I'm like, obviously.
Oh, of course he did.
I was in Manhattan probably getting ready to film the Summer House spinoff because we heard he's on it.
Yes, which I look forward to. Just even hearing him just say a few words could really get me through a bad day.
I'm really interested to see what his wife is like because we know nothing. I think she was in one episode at a dinner and like obviously she wasn't a cast member, so they didn't really highlight her. So I am like, I hope she's like funny and quirky because we know that he had a thing for Paige, who's like funny, and so I hope that she's like that.
I agree.
I like picture her being like that, like the yin to his sweet yang.
We'll see. I would imagine she's gotta have some spiciness.
Yeah, so
I think
sassy.
I agree. Okay, so we've been getting a ton of questions like across Discord. I know you've been getting them in the DMs about what's going on with Jersey. And I get it because there's been a lot going on and we have been sharing a ton. So guys, if you're a Jersey lover, we have a lot of Jersey tea for you today. So I thought we'd start with this one. Okay.
By the way, I think it's important that I note that I actually heard these names a bunch and I did DM and I just simply said, got an email, is it okay if I share your name publicly? And I got the just liked it or didn't tell me not to. So
yeah,
that's why we're sharing the names because it pissed a lot of people off with Rhode Island that I didn't share. So there are workarounds where I can in the future just DM the people. I don't typically DM Bravo Lebs, to be honest with you. Tea comes to me or it doesn't. I'm not somebody who DMs. I just never have. I don't see the point. I figure if somebody wants me to know something, they'll let me know somehow, some way. I've never been somebody to ask. Give it to me or don't.
Well, and also, guys, we've been getting names for Jersey for over a year, and they have changed. So, it's not just that, we have this policy where we don't think it makes sense to dox people who are not public figures. But in this case, these are names that keep coming back up. This is the one, and we know that filming is going to be starting soon. So I think it's finally becoming real. Just think of all the ones that we've gotten, especially Atlanta. Atlanta's another big one where we get all kinds of names that end up not being true.
But they're usually like public figure, like people, like either wags or recording artists or like they're, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where like a couple of these are like legit people
Right.
that you wouldn't know. Cooler days call for layers that last, and Quince is my go-to for quality essentials that feel cozy, look refined, and won't blow your budget. Think $50 Mongolian cashmere, premium denim that fits like a dream, and luxe outerwear you'll wear year after year. These are the pieces that'll turn into your fall uniform. Because Quince partners directly with top-tier, ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen, they deliver luxury quality pieces at half the price of similar brands. It's the kind of wardrobe upgrade that feels smart, stylish, and effortless. I have 2 items from Quince that are my go-to. Jeans, super flattering, fit like a glove, and a leather crossbody that was less than $70. Gorgeous burgundy color. Whenever I wear it, all my friends are like, when did you get that? Because it looks designer and high-end. Of course, I immediately tell them the price and say, code cocktails. Find your fall staples at Quince. Go to quince.com/cocktails for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/cocktails to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/cocktails. My hair felt thinner. Every day, I felt like I was shedding more and more, and I started to feel nervous. I knew I had to try something to help my hair, but there were just so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to work. I decided to give Nutrafol a closer look. It's not just hype. It's physician-formulated, clinically tested, and even recommended by dermatologists. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. Nutrafol is also the first and only hair growth supplement to be NSF certified for sport testing against 290-plus athletic banned substances, toxicology reviews, ingredient testing, label verification, and annual manufacturing facility audits to ensure FDA requirements are met. See thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month's subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code GOSSIP. Find out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com. Promo code GOSSIP. That's Nutrafol.com. Promo code GOSSIP.
Cocktailers, this episode of Cocktails and Gossip is brought to you in part by CBDX. And if you've been tossing and turning at night, this is for you. A lot of us hit a point where sleep just changes. It's harder to fall asleep. We wake up in the night and we start the day already tired. And this isn't just in your head. Sleep struggles are common, especially when stress and long days pile up. That's why so many people are discovering the power of cannabinoids. Yes, cannabinoids can be fun, but the benefits go way beyond recreation. People are using them to manage stress, ease discomfort, support mood, and finally get real rest. Here's the thing. A lot of people used to turn to a glass of wine or a nightcap to wind down, but more and more are choosing a healthier, natural alternative, one that actually supports better sleep instead of disrupting it. That's where CBDX's lights out sugar-free THC and CBN sleep gummies come in. CBDX gummies are made for restorative sleep, not for partying. Each blends indica-based THC for relaxation, CBN for sleep quality, plus glycine, chamomile, L-theanine, and just 1 milligram of melatonin. Guys, I struggle with the sleep. I feel like, yes, it is partially an age thing, but I think it is also a stress thing. A glass of wine definitely is not doing it. At this point, I am always open to trying new things and have really enjoyed trying CBDX. CBDX gummies are naturally sweetened with monk fruit, which means no chemicals, no weird aftertaste. You take one, drift off gently, stay asleep, and wake up clear-headed. No hangover, no grogginess. And CBDX isn't just about sleep. They've got THC sativa blends for creativity, hybrids for balance, indicas for deep relaxation, and premium non-THC gummies with cannabinoids like CBG, CBD, CBC, and CBN, each with their own unique wellness benefits. So if you're ready to feel better every day, visit cbdx.com and use code GOSSIP for 20% off your first order. CBDX, plant-powered wellness you can trust. That's cbdx.com, code GOSSIP. 20% off your first order and get the sleep you deserve. Okay, well, here's the email. It's from Jersey Girls. Subject, Real Housewives of New Jersey. And guys, if I'm saying anybody's name wrong, just be patient with me because we haven't heard them we haven't heard them themselves say their names yet. So we've got Michelle Barone, who lives in Hudson Valley, New York. She's not a contender. It says she is not a contender for Real Housewives of New Jersey. She has a podcast and was a guest of a guest on Below Deck episode a few months back. And this is somebody that we have heard was a contender in the past. Christina Pastina has been a friend of Dolores's for years, and Not Ruffalo is a definite newbie. Michelle Colombo is also in the mix, as well as Tiffany Chantel. Again, is Tiffany Chantel, is she the ex-cheerleader?
Yes, I believe she was a dancer for the Jets.
Dancer. Okay. And then it says Jackie Goldschneider is definitely not in the mix.
So I took this email, I reached out to a bunch of sources, and here's what I pieced together. Michelle Barone, I hear test filmed. At a minimum, test filmed now. Just because somebody test filmed does not mean it went well, does not mean that they'll be picked. It is a little odd. Apparently, she's buying or renting a house in New Jersey. She actually has a connection through Teresa. Not sure how that will work, but I did hear that she test filmed. Christina Pastina, by the way, Pastina is not her last name. I guess that's just her Instagram name.
Oh.
Yeah. So many of you were like, oh my God, B, why would her parents name her that? I don't even know what her real last name is, but beautiful girl, single, lives in Franklin Lakes, tested with Melissa. She's likely. Natia's full name is Natalie. She tested and did really well. This is the injector that Melissa has posted. Tiffany, I heard no. She could possibly get pulled in last minute, but they're trying to keep everyone, or they were, in the North Jersey area. But then, well, we'll get to Danielle.
Yeah.
Jackie, I have heard she is not happening. There were some emails we got that she's on standby, but a pretty good source told me no. Okay. I have a good source who told me a girl who was in the mix, Teresa called her to introduce herself to somebody who was test filming, and Teresa told them that I don't have to test film because I'm an OG and I've never tested, which makes sense. So a source said with Teresa, I think she'll either be on it or get her own show. It's basically what we've been saying, but I have a follow-up to this. I just want to get through everybody. Danielle Cabral. Danielle Cabral was not in the mix. And then all of a sudden, she's at the MTV Music Awards, and she's basically saying, I'm going to be back. She didn't say that, but she was very excited, talking. They're getting it right this time. I get an email. I reach out to a couple sources. I'm going to go ahead and guess that somebody's test filming didn't go well. Michelle Colombo, whose name was mentioned, pulled out. I hear that was her choice. She decided not to do it. They want to get this up and running. Danielle brought good drama. I get that she's not wealthy and all of that. Here's my thinking on Danielle. She has a really likable husband. He's good looking, 2 cute kids. They're clearly going with the new girls for that young family vibe. Danielle fits into that. I could see why. So she is in talks with producers at Siren. Nothing is 100% confirmed yet, guys, but this is what we're hearing.
Interesting. I mean, I could take I could really actually leave Danielle. She's not my favorite. I just feel like she gets too quick to violent anger too fast. And I just don't care for that. I can see Teresa, because there's a lot of conversation about Teresa. And actually, now it's so funny. I think maybe our tinfoil hat theory about Teresa maybe wanting to make the move to Florida.
She said it on Jeff Lewis yesterday, Amanda.
I haven't gotten to hear it yet. What did she say?
Here's what we have to discuss. So
Okay.
Teresa was on Jeff Lewis yesterday with Gia. First of all, she went on there. She said a lot of stuff. First thing she said is her youngest is in her junior year. When she graduates high school, they plan on downsizing in New Jersey and getting a property in Florida. Again, like we said on the pod, a very common thing for us New York, New Jersey people.
Right.
To downsize and have a second home in Florida. Obviously, in her case, because she could fit in Miami. Like, I get it.
Yeah, I see it too.
Here's the other thing she said. Now, this is crazy. And you haven't heard this because I didn't post about it. Anyone who listened to Jeff Lewis heard it. But on Jeff Lewis, he was saying to her, you really should make amends with your brother, Melissa, even Margaret. And do you know that Teresa said she would be willing to, like, she's like, it would never be the same, but I'd be willing to get to a place where we're cordial now. She said, I had a breakthrough while I was on special forces with Gia, and Gia encouraged me. What do I think? I think that this train is really moving and leaving the station without her in a full-time capacity. And I think that Teresa smartly is realizing my refusal to film with these people is going to cost me my check. And she needs that check. She talked about how she has 4 daughters. Gia is financially independent. The other 3, 2 are still in college. 1 still has to go to college. She said, I pay for car leases. I pay for college. I have a high overhead. In other words, she's got to work. And you know what? I believe wholeheartedly that if Teresa went to Bravo and she was like, I will have a lunch with my brother and Melissa, I will bury the hatchet, I can be civil with them, and Margaret, I think it would be so hard for her to actually do it because she is so stubborn. But if she were willing to do that, everybody's tuning in for those scenes.
Of course.
My question is, once you do that scene and once you bury the hatchet, it's not going to be like her, Melissa, Margaret, and Joe are going to go to the Bahamas and hang with Juicy for a weekend. Like,
no.
From there, they'll just be at parties and be like around each other. And that's when the new girls, if they pop, will end up taking over the show and the OGs will be phased out. That's my opinion. But I definitely think if Teresa is willing to really do what she said on Jeff Lewis Live, Bravo will go for it. Your thoughts?
I'm just reacting to this real time. I want to say good job to us for our conspiracy theory because it sounds like there might have been something to it. I would agree that this does reek of I need a check, but would I like to see them make peace, especially with Joe and Melissa? Absolutely, for their family's sake. Do we need it for TV? Has that ship already sailed? I don't think they're ever going to be throwing cake at each other, Siggy Flicker's cake at each other and having fun like that. But do I think where they could get to a place where they can be civil? Sure. And do I think Bravo and all of us would want to see it? Absolutely. I can only imagine that it would be a very uneasy peace treaty given how dark things got. I can only imagine, like, they would all just feel like, okay, at least we can be civil now, but we can never, I'm sure they'll feel like they can never trust each other again.
I'm going to counter that with something.
Oh.
Nothing brings people back together like new people to dislike. So let's picture it. We get them all back together. Bravo, I hope you're listening. And they do this peace treaty, right? They break bread, they bury the hatchet, and we know that it's surface level. Then they get into filming. And Natia or Michelle Barone or Christina Pastina or one of these new, young, hot to trot, taking the brand deal bitches starts going. And now Teresa and Melissa and Marge have a common thing. Like, these girls think they're going to take our crown, and I totally think that could bring them to a place where they focus on the present, which is we have to hold our ground. We all want to still be on this show. We don't want these girls outshining us. So I feel like what could start as like a, okay, we'll make amends to all film could turn into like an allyship.
I could see that. And by the way, I didn't address like your thought about this all coming to pass because Teresa is sensing the train leaving the station. What is that place they always go to? Crossroads?
Rails.
The train is leaving the rail station with or without Teresa. And I think that more than anything, I don't think there's been like a strong desire on her part to come back. I don't think she had like a breakthrough like she's saying she did. I think she is realizing that this is going to happen without her or not. So she better get on that train.
Well, and she's doing a lot of interviews. I saw her with Bryce Sandler, and she basically was like, if there was filming, we would see pictures. You know that pictures get leaked. It's like, yeah, Teresa, they're test filming in the houses. So she's probably going on Jeff Lewis. A lot of these women have revived themselves on Jeff Lewis. Tamara, Shannon, time and time again, Vicky, going on there, getting the word out, like, I'm willing to make peace. And you don't think that a producer from Siren followed up with her after she said that? She is probably, as we speak, because this was yesterday's Jeff Lewis, on the phone with them. Like, what does this look like? How can we make this happen?
I have another tinfoil hat conspiracy theory.
Do it.
Just a prediction, maybe. I could totally see this happening at BravoCon. Like, it wouldn't be a squash the beat thing. This would be an intimate sit down of just them or something like that.
Maybe they hide on a screen for an audience and then they all walk out as they announce the new cast.
Something like that. Or something where, like, I could see Bravo being like, oh, okay, like, let's do this. The timing all just seems to kind of be working out that way.
Do we read this email? You know what? Let's read this email quick because it gives context on how this is coming together. And again, this Teresa development is all new because we received another thing saying she's still going to be on New York City Next Gen. Maybe they'll give her a few episodes of something else. They'll try to put together some sort of trip with a bunch of people. That's all great, but that's not a consistent check the way her own show would be. So right. I think she's got it in her. I think she's willing to eat crow and make amends. I think she's got it in her to be back. But we got this email before Teresa said any of that.
Okay, it says Bravo is looking to add that. Is that the one you're talking about? Add 4 to 5 newbies. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yep.
Okay. Bravo is looking to add 4 to 5 newbies this season, whether full-time or friend of. Christina Pastina has, I love saying that name now. Christina Pastina has been a close friend of Dolores Catania for years and has even been in some scenes in the background. Pastina is not her last name. Natia Ruffalo will bring the early 30s mom energy like Melissa Gorga when she joined. Last year, she bought a mansion in Morristown, New Jersey, and has been renovating it. Michelle Barone Lepore also has younger kids, but they are hoping she brings in more humor. They are unsure why they love her so much that they want her to move to New Jersey, but there must be something up their sleeves. Christina will be brought in by Dolores. Michelle will be brought in by Margaret Josephs. Natia will be brought in by Melissa. And someone else in Melissa's circle will be joining to help round out the cast, as the 3 newbies don't really like each other. And Bravo needs another strong real-life connection in the new group besides Dolores and Christina. And at the last minute, it appears Danielle Cabral is back in talks. At home, shooting will begun right before BravoCon, so public leaks don't get out. Then at BravoCon, Melissa, Dolores, and Margaret will have a panel sharing the official news. Filming will be from November to early February, with hopes of the premiere being as the Rhode Island reunion is airing to help with viewership. So there we go.
It seems pretty consistent to what we've been hearing, minus the fact that Teresa has now announced she's willing to squash the beef. I am surprised by the addition of Danielle Cabral, but somebody backed out. I'm sure not everybody who test films is going to pop. And I did hear that Cabral knows some of the new women, so that helped her. And I said, like, I know what you're saying, like, you can leave Danielle, but on an ensemble cast, she does kind of stir the pot. Like, in real life, would we want to have her over? Probably not, but she has the young, cute family. And a lot of people are like, why they pick her and not Rachel? Unfortunately, I think Rachel's suffering. When her husband got into it with Teresa and they did all that digging into his past, there was just a lot of dark stuff about the ex and all of that kind of caused him to lash out. And I don't think they want that energy. I think someone like Nate, who kind of lays in the cut and is there to support his wife.
Yeah. Which is one of the things I really do like about him, is that he's more of the strong silent type. Because
yes,
I think a lot of us, like, they enjoy the Jersey husbands, but they don't want to see the husbands getting overly involved in the drama.
Yeah, and like with Danielle, explosive isn't a bad thing on a reality show. It can be very interesting. And then she's got the husband calming her down. So it's kind of an easy formula for production to work with, rather than Rachel being the calm one and her husband being the one who gets riled up. And listen, I personally like John Fuda and Rachel. I'm just saying from the network's point of view.
Yeah. For me, it's, I don't mind stirring the pot. I don't mind somebody even being exclusively angry. I just feel, again, like, I don't think anybody says they condone violence, but like, I just feel like she's either gotten there or gotten on the line too many times. I just don't care for that behavior. But we did get another Jersey email.
Yes. I don't think it's true, but it'd be great.
Well, I think, so we've mentioned that at the top, like, it could have been true at one point, right? Because there's been a lot of
what was true,
but
when she was with. Okay, so let's read the email, because this was a cocktail exclusive. So if you're not in Cocktail Party, you don't know about this.
So subject is Real Housewives of New Jersey 15. And then it says Rachel Durante, an artist, is followed and has been in talks with casting about being on Real Housewives of New Jersey next season. So where does her messiness come from? She is the ex-fiance of Joe D'Amelio, who is Paige's new boyfriend, Paige DeSorbo's. Then they called off their engagement last November.
So what I'm hearing is that they did reach out to her, but not for this season. They reached out to her in the past when they first added new people. And that's back when she was with Joe D'Amelio, who is now her ex-fiance and Paige's boyfriend. He's the vice president of Clutch Sports. He comes from a very wealthy family in New Jersey. He's very well known. His family is super duper private. So not surprising she didn't join, although I can see why she would have liked it. She's an artist. Obviously, it's a great platform. I am not hearing that she is not in current talks. We've been getting emails from a certain email, and a lot of the stuff has been panning out. And I mean over the course of a few months.
Right.
And a lot of our Jersey has been coming from there. Mm-hmm. This one did not come from that email. So I do believe she was in the mix back when she was with him.
Yeah.
I do believe that maybe she'd want to be on the season. I don't see how she fits in, and I would like it. I think it'd be messy, but I just don't see it.
Well, and based on her, she's not a wife or an ex-wife. She doesn't have kids. You know, unless she's got family ties, my thought is if she's not interesting on her own, I don't think the 2 steps removed from the Bravo connection is interesting enough for her to get on the show. Because honestly, who cares that she's Paige's boyfriend's ex-fiance? People break up all the time.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. We have to discuss this wild situation. So we're done with Jersey for now. We'll be back. Things are flowing over there, but nothing is concrete. But some crazy stuff popped off in my DMs. And, I don't appreciate people telling me what I should run with. So someone who is very clearly friends with Gretchen and Shade was telling me, Amanda, that we had to put this stuff out about Katie because we would look very foolish when other people put it out. To which I said, okay, you're telling me something that you have no proof of. So if it comes out with proof, then I don't look foolish. I just didn't have it. Like you're giving me nothing. I could make this up. I could sit in my bed at night and be like, ooh, you know what I could say Katie's doing? But that's not what moves the needle.
No.
So don't tell me how to run our account.
Right.
Here we go. Here's the gist of what was sent to me. They said, I have OCT to pour for you. I work in the business, AKA they run a PR firm. Your narrative on Gretchen and Slade is wrong. They wanted me to put out what they told me. Oh, wait, sorry, that's me. So they wanted me to put out what they told me, which there was zero proof of. I explained this in Cocktail,
right?
Your Cocktail member. So they said Katie has gone out and hired a reputation management firm. They said it's the same one Meghan Markle works with to have these positive articles about her come out. They claim that all of the fan support that is out there is because of this firm that they hired and bots. But here's the thing, which I explained to them. I have an account with 165 plus thousand Bravo fans following, okay? I get DMs. I know which way the needle is going. I know where the audience is leaning. Whether Katie hired a PR firm to help with her image, that is certainly possible. Housewives have done that. That being said, her support is not strictly bots. I know that because I have all of you guys messaging me saying, why did Emily do this to her? Why did they have this fake polygraph test? Why are they ganging up on her? Yes, she lied. She got messy. She got caught, but they've all done it. So I said to this person, I have it in my DMs. These aren't just comments on a post. These are people that I know, cocktailers that message me all the time. They're like, she waited for the very moment to put out the video of Jen and Gretchen in the boxing studio. Gretchen is the one who mimicked an Asian accent and made her eyes slanted. Like she waited for the perfect time. It's not AI. Gretchen admitted that was her and apologized.
Yeah.
So there was no smoking gun here. And then the person says to me like, oh, I'm a PR person. I go, okay, so it's bad that Katie hired a PR firm, if that's true, which I have no proof that it is, but let's say it is. But Gretchen hiring you is fine. Oh, no, it's fine because I'm her friend. I don't work with celebrities. And to that, I said, okay, let me put it to you in simple terms that you can understand. If you're going to call me foolish, we're going to break things down here. I'm an attorney, okay? But I do real estate law. It doesn't mean that I can't advise you on how to get out of a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
So just because you don't currently work, the person actually said he, she, I don't know. They used to work with celebrities, but now they work with brands. Okay. It doesn't mean you don't know how to do. It's like Lindsay Hubbard. She still knows how to be a PR person.
Right.
So, like, what are we talking about here? It's ridiculous. And Gretchen, it was a fail.
So I will say this. Reputation management firms are not always just PR firms. Reputation management firms also can work where they put out just sheer volume of stuff so that if somebody has something that, and I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not implying that this is what Katie has done, so please don't think I'm going there. But I also just want to explain kind of the difference because reputation management firms and PR firms are not always the same. Sometimes people do both, but just like B's example of an attorney who can help somebody, like a real estate law firm is not the same thing as an automotive law firm, right? And reputation firms, the way that they can work is they put out a sheer amount of volume. So yes, I think some of it's bots. It used to be just by hand. And the reason I know what they are is, I can't remember if I told this story, but I found out that a boss that I used to work for a long time ago had a record.
Oh, you told me this.
And yeah,
it erased.
Well, he didn't have it erased. What he did is he hired a reputation management firm to bury it. Just like before the rise of AI, when you go onto Google, there's like, you can go back 10 pages. So they put out sheer volume of content so that stuff, there's no such thing as deleting things off the internet. Like once it's out there, it's out there.
But listen, if I look up John Smith, I'm not gonna go past the first page in Google, right?
Exactly.
I'll get a LinkedIn, I'll get a Facebook, maybe I'll get a White Pages.
Yeah.
A few things, maybe an article about charitable work John Smith has done. And then after that, I feel like, all right, this is all that's out there on him. No one's going to the 5th page.
And then sometimes people, they might not necessarily have something to hide, but they want to have a lot of Google results or have a lot of positive things said about them in the way that the reputation management firms used to work. I do think a lot of it is automated bots now, but they would just put out a sheer ton of content just across all different kinds of media outlets so that person. So it's not always a reputation management firm is hiding. Now, a PR firm is all about, and so, like I said, sometimes they can be both, but a PR firm is all about helping push specific things about a person, right? Or about a brand. So PR firms are the people who put on the brand trips. Like we see the Tarte trip with all the influencers that go to it. We see PR firms helping put out positive articles about regular businesses if they donate a lot of money, or people if they donate a lot of money and stuff. So there's a little bit of a difference, but I only know that because I work in marketing. It is funny to me that this is essentially one PR agent writing and tattling on Katie for hiring her own PR agent. Like I said, they're not all the same.
Only Gretchen and Slade can have PR agents, and they don't pay them anyway.
Yeah.
He's a deadbeat with his PR agents, too.
Is he really? I hadn't heard that.
No, I'm kidding. This guy's just a friend or girl. But honestly, I don't know their gender, whatever.
Hot kettle black.
It was just
people who live in glass houses. Guys, like...
Yeah, they were very rude, and they were like, you're going to look so foolish. Like, they kept
so know-it-all.
Look so foolish when other people post this. And I was like, well, that's not really how I operate my business. If every Bravo account posts something, which happens, and I don't believe it's true, like a bunch of people were running with Naomi and her husband getting a divorce. My sources told me there were not Naomi. Oh, God, Cameron from Southern Charm.
Yeah,
OG.
Eubanks.
And I was like, I talked to my Charleston folks. There's no truth to that. I didn't run with it because everybody could say something doesn't make it true.
True.
But Katie is messy. And here's another example this week of just how messy Katie is. And I don't know. All the fans are on her side. I think if anything, she slows her roll, but she's not. Miss Messy, Kiki, whom Katie says, I never told Kiki about Naked Wasted. Okay. So there, Katie.
I don't believe
Kiki her. I don't believe her. I believe Kiki.
I do too.
Okay. Kiki is friends with Sheena. So now, basically, Sheena and Kiki have been on podcasts together saying that Katie is lying. Like, Sheena is like, I know that Katie told Kiki because Kiki spoke to me about it, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Again, I believe that Katie told Kiki. Wouldn't you know, Katie shares a picture of her husband hanging with Mike Shea, Sheena's ex-husband. Posted a picture and said, it was so great to meet you at Mike Shea. Girl, we know you don't like Sheena because she's Team Kiki. But this is mess, and I don't think it's good mess to get involved in.
I agree. I think it's just more of Katie doing things, like just being way in over her head at being a housewife, and she's literally flailing at everything.
I was hoping that on the Vial podcast, which I didn't listen to, but I assume if this was said, I saw clips, it would have come out. I was hoping that Katie was like, you know what? I am going to come clean. And I did tell Kiki. Because until she does that, I don't know what to believe with her. Like,
Yeah.
yes, everybody lies, but at some point, like, you're caught in this lie. Kiki has zero reason to take, let's say, Sheena, which is what somebody on some podcast alleged, that Sheena told Kiki. What reason would Kiki have to say it's Katie? Like, what does Kiki care? Especially considering if they met for lunch and stuff, they were kind of friendly. So why would Kiki want to do Katie dirty? Like, this is, again,
Yeah.
this is a content creator that I personally have followed, DM'd with, followed her stories, followed her coverage, listened to her podcast for years, right? So I know how she operates. She is not, and there are some people like Kim D comes to mind, who has a podcast and will get involved in anything and will be messy. And Kiki has a job with Sirius Radio under Andy's network.
Yeah.
She has absolute zero reason. She's on Jeff Lewis Live.
And
what
she wouldn't
reason
have
would she
gotten
have
her
to make this up? It doesn't even make sense.
She wouldn't have gotten where she is if she
Exactly.
knows people to just float with everything and reveal all of her sources and all of that. So, like, that alone.
Like,
yeah.
Katie needs to admit that. And if I have any advice for you, Katie, I'm opening my second high noon.
Good for you.
If I have any advice for you, Katie, at the reunion, which I hear is filming on 10/10, that's the one thing that loser who told me I'm foolish gave me. That was the only smoking gun in that DM exchange. If I have any advice for you, Katie, just be like, I didn't want to have to admit to another lie, but I did tell Kiki. Because number one, it's the right thing to do because you were friendly with Kiki. And number two, we all know you told her. I haven't seen any content creator of any value, at least anyone on my radar, not side with Kiki. And that isn't because we're all content creators. That's because we know how each other operate. Everybody knows everybody's style, okay? I know Kiki's style. I know Ryan Bailey's style. I know the Real Moms of Bravo style. Like, we know each other's. We know, like, we all are.
Yeah.
You know, we're all in the same mix. The same way housewives know the style of other housewives, content creators know the style of other content creators. This does not align with how Kiki has operated over the course of the 5-6 years I've been in the game alongside her.
Yeah. Let me just pile on to your advice for Katie, because I am seeing the tide changing where it seemed like there was no way she would come back to, you know, and now Tamra has befriended her. Well,
she'll
Shannon.
I've been saying for quite a while, I think she's back. Once Tamra took her back. Yeah. And also, this person who's friends with Gretchen being in my inbox and wanting this out and da-da-da-da is also indication that she'll be back, because we heard that the end of and I also asked them to tell me what happened at the end of the season, and they were like, I can't say it until it comes out, because you want to see what kind of edit Bravo gives her, because you know she fucked up and you want to see how much Bravo shows us.
Yeah. So we're seeing the tide changing. 3 weeks ago, I would have been surprised to hear Katie was coming back, but now I'm feeling differently just based on the way I'm seeing comments and like people's reaction, as in housewives reactions now real time. But I will say, Katie, I'm going to pile on with B's advice and say, be honest, but also just stop doing all this shady shit. Just feature your cute family. Feature yourself in beautiful locations on social media. Stop with the shit, because it just makes us all just really question your motivation and feel like you're trying to trick us all, and like that you think you have the upper hand.
I do feel that whatever Katie's history is with her first husband and the darkness that surrounded her losing custody that was brought up at the reunion, her intention in getting involved in all of this may very well have been to swerve the storyline away from her past, which she doesn't want to bring up. But unfortunately, if that's your past and you're on a show, it's going to come up. And that's probably what's on base for you your third season. So you're going to have to either not come back or come back and face whatever it is that these women are going to throw at you.
Batter up. I agree.
Do we share this dopey jet?
Oh my God.
Now?
I'm dying to share it, because I got such a kick out of it when it came into our inboxes that I immediately emailed you with probably 3 lines long that just said LOL. Okay, here's what the email says. I'm reaching out with an exclusive, verifiable story about Real Housewives of Orange County cast member Jen Pedranti that appears to contradict aspects of her Bravo storyline. On the show, Jen presents herself as a devoted yoga studio owner, hardworking single mom, and independent businesswoman. Based on my firsthand experience as a student at her studio, along with supporting communications from instructors, I can share that during filming, Jen was rarely present at her yoga studio and, to my knowledge, did not regularly teach classes. She would at times post on social media about being at the studio, although I did not personally see her there on many of those occasions. She generally does not engage deeply with students outside of her personal circle. I believe she is now quietly preparing to sell the studio, which has not been reported anywhere.
Woo, exclusive.
To my knowledge, I am the sole source with screenshots and proof confirming this. The work she appears to prioritize are high-priced retreats, which generate significant profit. Well, duh. I also have screenshots from instructors that reference her limited presence at the studio. Taken together, this information, in light of the current negative press around Jen, including the Katie Janela situation, makes this story both timely and newsworthy. Okay, B, I have to wonder, I wish we had responded to this person to be like, I'm just curious, like, how much this person wanted for this story. I wish we had
I
asked.
took that part out of it. So they said, I will give you the screenshots of what? Jen not being at the studio? But you have to pay me. Okay, well, you gave me all this information. Number one, but the other thing is, it wasn't even an email we could respond to. It was a made-up email.
Oh, that's right.
So what I personally think is it's somebody on the cast trying to get at Jen and, like, thinking that I was going to take this to be, like, some really, like, there's nothing here.
I mean, had they read BravoandCocktails.com? We have people cheating. We have threesomes. We have thruples. We have, I mean, all kinds of juicy stuff. Like, where is the what?
I don't even think we saw her studio this season or even heard about it. So
yeah.
What is interesting is that this week she won custody of her 3 children in her messy divorce. That is actually newsworthy.
Yes.
So the 3 children involved in the custody agreement are Grayson, Everly, and Dominic. And her ex, William, needs to give Jen 1 hour notice for any proposed visits with the children. I guess the other kids are over 18, which is why it doesn't apply to them. That's wonderful news for her. Clearly, he still has access to his children.
1 hour notice is... Ooh.
Yeah, is that not that much?
No. I mean, that seems... Because I obviously read the article and, like, Perry wrote that great article that we have on the site, but I don't remember reading the 1 hour. I was just thinking about that. If that were with any... There's a very few people who have access to 1 hour's notice. I mean, there are, anyway, I think it's great. I think it says a lot about Jen and the situation that she's been in. That, first of all, she has, I feel like, been very classy about it. And the reason we've known about a lot of the ex-husband not paying and stuff is because it's in court documents. So
she has not really discussed that.
No, she's been, she's very protective of her children. And, I think the other thing, I'm just going to throw this out there, because I would imagine she's still trying to get paid, even though it sounds like the ex hasn't paid her. I would imagine part of the reason that she and Ryan have put off the wedding is because the alimony and all of that stops. Well, alimony, I don't think child support does, but the alimony does.
But hasn't her ex not been paying her?
He hasn't been paying her, but I'm sure, like, he's going to have to go to, like, he has to pay. You don't just decide that you're not going to pay anymore, or, like, you can't, if you're making $1 million a year before and then you decide you want to get a job at the Gap and make $60,000 a year, you still have to be on the line to provide for your family in the way that they did before. Every law in every state is family law, and state by state is different, but, like, generally that's kind of the thing. So That's a lot of money that he would owe her by now.
I have to say about Ryan, to give some credit, because we were very hard on him. And I think the audience in general, because we heard a lot of stuff where there was like some shady stuff. And of course, a lot of it was put out by Tamara. But there was that whole FBI thing that he was ultimately really not involved in. But of course, his name was involved in it. So he really does seem like a good partner. And he's taking on, I believe she has 5 children altogether.
Yeah.
But 3 minor children who are living full-time in his house.
Yes.
So.
And an ex-husband who could come at an hour's notice. Yeah. Yeah.
And the ex-husband used to work for her family, but doesn't anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. What? Okay, now I have a question for you. I'm throwing this at you. What do you want next season's OC cast to look like?
Oh, okay. I'm going to be a little controversial here. I would like to see Vicky, and you guys know I'm not always the biggest Vicky fan. Vicky, Tamara, Shannon. Although Shannon, I think, could be a friend. I enjoy a Gina. I think Emily can go. I think Tamara, or I'm sorry, I think Heather Dubrow. Like, I really like her, but I feel like she's turning into a little bit of a shtick.
I see that.
Although I do want to see what happens with the rest of the season, because we have heard that there's going to be a pretty big conversation with her and Gretchen. I think Gretchen can go. I don't want to see Alexis Bellino. I would love to see a good old, like, previous cast member.
Quinn.
No, I liked her though. Who is we see her still. She had the baseball player husband.
Gina Keogh.
Gina. I would love to see Gina. I just always like her. So I'm just saying,
Katie?
like,
you haven't mentioned Katie.
I don't want to see Katie. She has lied to us, and she's been trying to play.
They've all lied to us. Tamara?
I know. I agree. I think Tamara.
What about Jen? You didn't mention Jen.
I would like to see Jen. Honestly, I wouldn't mind actually seeing Tamara and Shannon also. I've always loved Shannon. Had a soft spot. I wouldn't say loved, but had a soft spot. But maybe see them go and see Vicky in there with Jen and some of these other people.
Do you know who I'd like to see them add? Jacqueline Larita, who lives in the OC. And she's friends with a lot of them.
She is. She and Lynn did their facelifts together.
I say Tamara, Jacqueline Larita, Jen, Katie, Gina. I don't mind Heather, but I do feel like after Katie went with her and basically was torn to the ground, she's just untouchable and nobody's ever going to go there again. So Shannon, friend of. Vicky, friend of. Gina, friend of.
No, Emily.
I have no use for Emily.
I always liked Emily.
I just feel like she's trying too hard.
She's trying to do
Tamara, but she doesn't do it well enough. I do feel for her when she had the scene where her son was calling her, and I feel for her as a parent, but
yeah.
I also feel it's kind of hard to watch her right now because I do think that the marriage struggle that she's talking about is real. Like, over the course of the last couple of episodes, it's really felt that way. And I like her and Shane together. And I think it makes me sad, like, when they're in scenes and it's, like, so tense between them.
I think you and I both, as mothers, can identify with partly at least how Emily might be feeling if you think about, when your kid, your baby is just a teeny tiny baby, and it's just, they need their moms, right? And you get frustrated that the dad can't just give you all you feel like sometimes, at least I did. I don't mean to put my feelings on other people, but when you have a newborn, sometimes you're like, I need like 2 hours to myself to just feel normal. I want no one touching me. I want no one talking to me. I don't want to hear the baby crying from the other room and hear somebody else trying. And it feels like you feel like you're the only person who, and it's true, because the baby they're made to need to stay close. That's just the way that human beings work. And so I feel for Emily when her son has this attachment to her to the point where she's like, I don't feel like I can really even leave the house, but I feel like if I don't leave the house, that's not the right thing to do either. And I was like, I feel that for her because that
So much.
that looks really, I can imagine.
Yeah, I felt it. I just don't know that we need her in a full-time capacity. Maybe give it a beat. Give her a break.
Yeah.
And bring her back.
I agree.
Possibly. We love you guys. Sending you so much love. Do you want to touch on the link?
I do. I was just going to say we wanted to talk about that. So guys, I know it's been feeling really frustrating because the Instagram essentially did an update or made a change where when you guys click on a link, when we post it in stories, if you click on that link, the link opens in the Instagram browser. It does not open in like a Chrome browser or anything like that. And so Instagram owns that space and they can do whatever the F they want to do with that. And so when they make a change like that and make it so that it's changing the interface on the cocktail website where the login screen isn't showing, there are some things that I think we can probably do to fix that longer term. But what we don't want to do is completely make that change and then have so many people complaining to Instagram that they go back to the way that it was. And so because we do, when we do all the website stuff that we do, we also optimize for the different browsers. And so anyway, I'm just saying this long way to say that the issues are because Instagram made some changes. We have been actively trying to fix it, and we are still actively trying to fix it.
Amanda's trying to do a workaround, and Instagram could change it like in an hour, like this. They're always so a lot of our site issues are, and Amanda, I apologize because she's the one who deals with this stuff because I don't know how to, are little changes Instagram makes to the app have a chain reaction to our stuff.
Yes.
And not all of you guys have it. So like
people who are not on iPhones are not having this problem.
Right.
People who are looking at the website, obviously not through the Instagram browser, also not having this problem. Its problem is only happening for people who are trying to look at our posts and who need to log in to look at a cocktail post through Instagram. And so that's where we're just trying to not change the whole website as we see if Instagram's going to stick with this or not. Because I told you my theory is that Instagram wants people, they want their attention, right? All the apps are competing for attention. They want people to stay on their app. And the reason they created the Instagram browser is so that people can then go shop and then come back to the app. They don't really have a lot of use for people like us who are, have a membership site that people also access through their browser. So I'm just hoping that Instagram changes back, but just know we're working on it, and the site is by no means down. It's totally working on every other surface.
And if you just go to Chrome and type in bravoandcocktails.com and log in, and if you save it to your home screen, your login should stay.
Yeah.
And log in, it'll be there. It's annoying for us too. I can't get in either. It's a pain in the ass.
And I share your guys' frustration. And I will also say, those of you guys who reach out to me and send screenshots of what's going on, God bless you, because you guys are often you often see it sometimes before I do, because I'm not always looking at the website through the Instagram browser. So I so appreciate you guys, and just know we're doing everything we can to fix it. And we're kind of waiting to see also if this is going to be a permanent change or if this is like a little fluke change that'll get adjusted again. And we're hoping it's that.
Fingers crossed. And if it's not that, Amanda's going to figure it out. And
yeah.
We love you guys. Thanks. Time.
What's up, cocktailers? We want to thank you, as always, for listening to Cocktails and Gossip. Because of you, we've hit some amazing milestones, had some hilarious conversations, and have grown a truly amazing community. If you haven't already followed our podcast, hit the follow button in the top right of your Apple Podcast player, the follow button under the show logo on Spotify, or the subscribe button on Google Podcasts. We thrive on you, our audience. So make sure to tell all your gossip-loving friends about us too. And if you want to get all the tea, join our membership cocktail party by going to bravoandcocktails.com/join. Our members get access to the exclusive tea we post, the weekly podcast without ads, plus another additional bonus podcast every week. And of course, members also get to join us on our monthly live cocktail party Zoom, where we talk about the latest tea and even share tea that's just too hot to put in writing. Last, but maybe best, our members get access to the Cocktail Party Discord, where you can chat with Amanda, me, and all of the other cocktailers as well. There are always some great convos and hilarious comments happening in Discord. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you.